my homage to the gem of the Supreme Buddha. The Buddha is my refuge every day. May my homage to the gem of the Supreme Dhamma. The Dhamma is my refuge every day. May my homage to the gem of the Supreme Sangha. The Sangha is my refuge every day. May my homage to the Supreme Triple Gem. The Triple Gem is my refuge every day. Namo Buddhaya. Meritorious friends, devotees, you all are fortunate enough to listen to sublime Dhamma expounded by the fully enlightened one, the blessed one, the exalted one. We are born as human beings. We get this opportunity after a lapse of time, having accumulated a lot of meritorious consequences, having accumulated a lot of merits in the samsara. We have obtained this great magnanimous opportunity of being born as human beings. More than that, we have got the opportunity to encounter Buddha Sasana, a dispensation. Now we are in the Buddha Sasana of Gautama Buddha, the Supreme Gautama Buddha, who has spent millions and trillions of years in the samsara, completing 10 perfections in order to become the fully enlightened one, to attain supreme enlightenment, to teach the Dhamma for the benefit of humans and devas and all beings in the world, in order to get rid of this sansaric life. Meritorious devotees, don't miss out this great opportunity, because we encounter this kind of opportunity very rarely. Generally, the people or the general mass tend to believe what they sense, what they feel, what they see from their faculties, through their faculties. For example, if one sees something from the eye, one may believe it because he or she can believe his or her eyes. Whatever they hear, they believe it because they believe their own ear. They can feel some kind of things that they feel, the smelling and taste and tangibility, and these things one may believe. Why? One can believe upon one's own faculties. But the important thing here is there are things that one cannot feel, one cannot see, one cannot hear, unless otherwise one may develop extrasensory perception. Now, the Supreme Buddha stands in a great height in this regard, because the fully enlightened one has accumulated and has practiced extrasensory perceptual powers. In other words, the Supreme Buddha possesses those powers. That is why the fully enlightened one is called Vijjacharana Sampanna. Now, according to Vijjacharana Sampanna quality, the fully enlightened one, the blessed one, can read the thoughts of the others, can see the past lives of himself and others, and can hear the sounds which are far and near, can see everything in the universe. So there are so many other knowledges. So that is why the fully enlightened one is called Vijja Charana Sampanna. Therefore the divine eye or Dibba Chakku and Dibba Sota, divine ear, now these very powerful extra sensory perceptual powers can be handled by the fully enlightened one for the in the great manner, and Arahants and Pacceka Buddhas and these noble personalities in the world, meritorious devotees. Therefore fully enlightened one has seen various things in the universe which are not seen by general mass, other people in the world. So those who have not developed their mind up to a very high degree of standards, Arahants also has got this power. For example, Venerable Moggallana, who had psychic powers only second to the Supreme Buddha. So today I wanted to explicate regarding this factor to the Buddhists, especially who are listening to this Dhamma sermon, or any other person who is listening to this Dhamma sermon. Well, in a society, at a time when people do not believe the things that cannot be seen, that cannot be heard, that cannot be touched, what I wanted to emphasize is there are things that can be seen by the developed mind, through developed mind. Those who possess such developed minds, the greatest character in this regard is the fully enlightened one. So our people tend not to believe about the purgatory, the hell, or the heaven. They tend to say various things. They tend to say there is no place called hell. The hell is in the human world. What is there in the hospitals, what we see in the hospitals is the hell, or the places where there is poverty, utter poverty, sheer poverty. People tend to say, that is what is called hell. When there is luxury, they tend to proclaim that that is the place called heaven. So therefore they reject, they deny those very important places like what is called hell and what is called heaven, which are expounded by the fully enlightened one. Now this is the story, this Dhamma sermon, this Dhamma talk basically based on something in this regard. Today I have got to explicate to you, meritorious devotees or Dhamma friends, one of the important discourses in Sanyutta Nikaya, Lakkana Sanyutta. The name of the discourse is Atti Sankalika Discourse. What is the name of the discourse? Atti Sankalika Discourse. So regarding what are called bonds. Now at that time, Venerable Moggallana and Venerable Lakkana was living in what is called, now at that time the Supreme Buddha was living at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the Iscaral sanctuary. So on that occasion, Venerable Lakkana and Venerable Mahamoggallana were dwelling on Mount Vulture Peak. Mount Vulture Peak, Gijjakuta Pabbat. So in one morning, Venerable Mahamoggallana dressed and taking ball and robe, approached the Venerable Lakkana and said to him, "Oh, come friend, Lakkana, let's go to have arms, to have the arms in the village. Then village in the sense Rajagaha. Then the Venerable Lakkana said, okay, Venerable Sir, let us go. Okay, friend, let's go. The Venerable Lakkana, having said so, went with or accompanied Venerable Mahamoggallana in order to obtain alms. Then, as he was coming down from Mount Vulture Peak, the Venerable Mahamoggallana displayed a smile. He smiled in a certain place. The Venerable Lakkana said to him, "Oh friend, why did you smile? What is the reason?" Then Venerable Moggallana told to Lakkana, Venerable Lakkana, "Now this is not the correct opportunity, correct time for you to ask the question. Please put forward the question when we are together before the fully enlightened one. That is the correct and appropriate time to answer to this question." Then Venerable Lakkana and Venerable Mahamoggallana, having had their alms round, having completed their alms round, they returned and had the meal. Then, having completed their alms or having completed their lunch, they went to meet the fully enlightened one. Having paid homage to the fully enlightened one, they sat down one side, and Venerable Lakkana asked from Mahamoggallana. Then he asked from Mahamoggallana, "This is the you asked me not to ask the question at that time when you smile, and you told me to ask the question in front of the fully enlightened one. Now this is the time. This is the time for you to explicate as to why, friend Moggallana, you smile at a certain place when you are coming down from Vulture Peak or the Gijjakuta Pabbata." Then Venerable Moggallana told like this: when he was coming down from Mount Vulture Peak, he saw a skeleton. He saw a skeleton moving through the air. Vultures, crows, and hawks, following it in hot pursuit, were pecking at it between the ribs. So they were pecking between the ribs, stabbing it and tearing it apart while it uttered cries of pain. So therefore he said, "It occurred to me, it is wonderful indeed, it is amazing indeed that there could be such a being, that there could be such a spirit, that there could be such a form of individual existence." Then the fully enlightened one, the Blessed One, addressed the bhikkhus thus: "Bhikkhus, there are disciples who dwell having become vision, having become knowledge. In that a disciple can know, see and witness such a sight." So the fully enlightened one says, there are disciples who can see things like this. In the past, because the fully enlightened one then explained, "I also saw that being, but I did not speak about it." Now you can understand the fully enlightened one also has seen this being, but the supremely enlightened one did not talk about it with other persons. with other disciples. Rather, why? Because all the monks are not arahants, not one who have developed their minds up to a greater level to see things, see such things. That is why the fully enlightened one has not said that incident, because sometimes they might not believe it. Suppose there is a disciple who may be a lay person, who may be a monk, who can see things which cannot be seen by others. For example, he can see spirits, he can see other devils, he can see deities. So he will tell other people, oh, see, there is a devil here, there is a preta, there is a ghost, there is a divine being. Then people, having not seen, tend to say, this person might have gone mad. There is no such a person. Now suppose while I am delivering this Dhamma sermon, I could say, can't you see there are some divine beings around me, or there are some other beings around me? Then I have not such a power to see such things, but there may be some other highly developed minded disciples who can see things. If they utter such things, having not seen, people might say, oh, that particular monk or that particular disciple is telling lies. There are no such persons. Now, of course, the problem is not in that particular disciple or that particular monk. The problem is in other people who have not developed their minds to see such things in the world. In the same way, this electricity cannot be seen, meritorious devotees. Electricity cannot be seen. It comes through, in a wire. And waves. Now my picture appears on your TV screen through waves. Waves cannot be seen. But you cannot say there are no waves. There are waves. In the same way, meritorious devotees, even if you don't believe, there are things that should be believed. They cannot be touched, they cannot be seen, they cannot be heard, but these things are there. So, Supreme Buddha has seen this being, but the Supreme Buddha did not talk about it, explicate it, and the Supreme Buddha did not expound about it. Why? Because there are some persons who did not believe such things. If they don't believe, if they say, I cannot believe this, that would be something undesirable for the person. So others would not have believed the fully enlightened one, and if they had not believed the fully enlightened one, that would have led to their harm and suffering for a long time. So having known this factor, the Supreme Buddha has not talked about, claimed about, proclaimed about this thing. So after the revelation of Moggallana's incident, this is the answer given by the fully enlightened one in front of Venerable Lakkana Thera. So then the fully enlightened one explicated later, O monks, O bhikkhus, that being, the being that we are talking about, that means this skeleton which is moving through the air, getting the pecking and hammering and all this tearing and all these things from hawks, vultures, crows and all that. That being has done demerits in the fast. He is a person. In this Rajagaha, the Buddha says, of course he was a cattle butcher, in the same Rajagaha, the Buddha says. Cattle butcher. Now you can see there are people in our society. They kill animals for meat. They kill cattle, they kill goats, they kill cocks, they kill pigs, they kill other beings in order to live. Right? Therefore now, this is a very good example for such people to get away from those bad things, bad employments, bad jobs, bad way of earning living, eking out a living. Now this is a very good discourse for you to correct yourself. Therefore that particular person was a cattle butcher, and having been tormented in hell, the Supreme Buddha says, so due to this act, after the demise, he had been born in the hell, and he had been tormented in hell for many years, for many hundreds of years, for many thousands of years, and for many hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, as a result of that karma, that bad karma, as a residual result. So the result was not completed in the hell. There is a residue. So the rest of it, so residual result of that same karma he is experiencing now, such a form of individual existence. The Supreme Buddha, the knower of everything, the seer of everything, explicated. Now, meritorious devotees, you can understand the harmful acts of killing beings, how they come after us, like the hoof of the draft ox. They are coming behind us, giving lot of pain, suffering, torment. So we have to get away from these bad actions. Now, how many people are there in the world, including Sri Lanka, who are killing cattle without being afraid? They do these harm things, and they tend to think we can have a happy life, and they build up huge mansions like houses, they buy luxurious vehicles, and they lead very happy lives. And people tend to think, the other people, external people, they tend to think, that particular person is having a luxurious life. Yes, of course, it appears like having a luxurious life. Sometimes within the family itself, within this world, he or she may be suffering. On the one hand, that is secular level. And when he or she is born in the next world, then next life, this is the result. First of all, has to be born in the hell, and then come back to experience such tormenting things as a residue. Therefore, Dhamma friends, having known these things, the fully enlightened one has explicated to us not to do such things. Not to do such things. So we should not kill animals. Even a small being, even a tiny animal like ant, we should not kill. Tiny beings. People tend to think it doesn't matter to kill mosquitoes, ants, cockroaches, and rats and serpents. People tend to think. Sometimes people try to refrain from killing pigs, cattle, goats, cocks, and all that, sheep, but they not refrain from killing other beings in the world. But Supreme Buddha explicated about refraining from killing all the beings, destroying the life of beings, all the beings. So it is a Sabba Satta Hitavada. Now Buddhism is what is called Sabba Satta Hitavada. It generates loving kindness to everybody, not to some parts of the beings. Now some people refrain from eating meat in order to what? In order to save the lives of cattle, pigs, sheep, cocks and other gods. But they do not think about some other creatures. Now for example in paddy fields, now there are insecticides. So many insects are destroyed these days when the farmers grow paddy. But people don't mind about it. And people do not mind about killing, as I mentioned earlier on, mosquitoes and other beings. Now they all have life. They all have lives. And according to some other discourses in Sanyutta Nikaya itself, now Matu, Pitu, Batu, Bagini, Putta, Ditu, these discourses, now about father and about mother, about brother, about sister, about son, about daughter. In these discourses, the fully enlightened one has explicated that all the beings in the universe have been relatives of others at one time or the other. Therefore, all these beings, because we have come a long way, in this samsara. Therefore, meritorious devotees, these things cannot be understood by unwise people. That is why the Supreme Buddha says, Panyavan tassayan dhammo nayan dhammo duppanyasa. This dhamma is for wise person, not for unwise person. Therefore, meritorious devotees, from this story, from this discourse, this Atti Sankalika discourse, you can understand. Now even Venerable Moggallana, the person who is second to the Supreme Buddha in the area of psychic powers, having seen that skeleton, did not mention to Lakkana, Venerable Lakkana, because Venerable Lakkana had no power to see it. The Venerable Lakkana cannot see it. As that story, there are so many people, general mass in our world cannot see things as they really are. Therefore, they have a very, very limited power of seeing things. They can see only from their eye, the muscle's eye. They have no extrasensory power. The divine eye they do not have. They have the muscle ear. They have no the power of divine ear. Therefore, they believe what they hear, what they see, what they smell, what they taste, what they touch, what they can think. Therefore, that is not adequate. That is not adequate. That is why we have to have a kind of developed mind. Developed mind. The highly developed mind in the universe is the Supreme Buddha's mind. All these things were understood by the fully enlightened one. No any other teacher in the universe could see these things. So in that discourse, the Supreme Buddha explicates about that. In the next discourse, now this is in Sanyutta Nikaya Lakkana Sanyutta, to Venerable Lakkana. Now all these stories are related to, these Dhamma sermons are related to Venerable Lakkana. So in the next one, Mansapesi discourse, meritorious devotees. So in that discourse also, the Mahamoggallana one day saw a piece of meat. a piece of meat moving through the air when he was coming down from the Mount Vulture Peak. So these vultures, cows and hawks, they following it and in hot pursuit. They were stabbing at it and tearing it apart as that particular being uttered cries of pain. So then the Supreme Buddha says to the bhikkhus, that was a cattle butcher. That was a cattle butcher in the same Rajagaha at that time. Now people don't believe this. Now that being has been born, that cattle butcher, having committed lot of crimes, he has been born as a piece of meat. Now that is moving through the air. People cannot see with their muscle's eye, but those who have developed their mind, the Dibba Chakku, can see. Therefore Venerable Moggallana can see, the Supreme Buddha can see, other Arahants who have Dibba Chakku can see this divine eye. Therefore Venerable Moggallana saw this piece of meat was attacked by, it was stabbed by and teared by or torn by those vultures, cows, crows and hawks, and it was very, very painful. So the reason was that particular being has done a very cruel act at that time by killing or destroying those cattle. That was a cattle butcher. And also, meritorious devotees, in this section of discourses, so I would like to explicate some of the other discourses in this regard. So first of all, I explicated to you regarding Atti Sankalika discourse, now Mansa Pesi and Mansa Pinda, and there are so many discourses. So each and every discourse helps us to understand the gravity of the problem, grave actions that we commit, that people commit in order to eke out a living in a bad manner, not just manner. So in Mansa Pinda discourse also, one day Venerable Maha Moggallana was coming down from the Mount Vulture Peak. And when he was coming down, he saw a lump of meat. He saw a lump of meat, Mansa Pinda. And then this was explicated to the Supreme Buddha, and the Supreme Buddha explicated to those other persons, especially to the Supreme Buddha explicated to the monks. That was a poultry butcher, meritorious devotees. It was a poultry butcher in the same Rajagaha. So having done that bad action, he has been born in the hell. So he suffered in the hell for millions of years. Years of eons and thousands of years, 100,000s of years. He has suffered in the hell. After that, for experiencing the residual of the karma, he has been born in the Preta world. Now he is suffering. As a being, it was attacked by these vultures, crows. Now these vultures, crows and hawks cannot be seen by the muscle's eye. They are also in the ghost world, meritorious devotees. So the being is born in the ghost world, and there are these creatures in the ghost world. They are the ones who attack. They stab, they tear, and then the being cry. unbearable pain. So that cannot be heard by general mass. That can be heard by the ones who have developed their mind. So Dhamma friends, so meritorious devotees. So now this is a very good example. These discourses are very good example for karma and vipaka. Bad karma has bad results, and good karma has good results. Now you all know about that. Now here in this discourse, in this Dhamma sermon, I wanted to explicate the bad karma has bad results. And there was a person at that time. So that person was a flayed man. He was a flayed man. So why this became a flayed man? Now in a nutshell, I have to explicate to you that being was a sheep butcher. So sheep butcher, because of that, he was born as a flayed man and he was suffering now. So he was a sheep butcher in the same Rajaga, meritorious devotees. He was a sheep butcher in the same Rajaga. Now people, without any fear, without being afraid, people harmlessly, they kill animals. They kill animals. Now how many animals are being slaughtered for a day in the world? Now we have to refrain from it. Now these are the results. That is why Supreme Buddha explicates this. Next Supreme Buddha explicates about a man with body hairs of spears. Now when somebody does some bad action, the person has to suffer, meritorious devotees. So the earlier being was having hairs of swords. Now this was having body hairs of spears. Now they are moving through the air. Those spears kept on rising up and striking his body. So they go up. Now you see the power of the karma. These body hairs of spears go up and then fall down on his body, on the same being's body, giving pain. Then it starts crying louder. Then the Supreme Buddha explicates, this was a deer hunter, meritorious devotees. At that time, he was hunting deer in the same Rajaga. So now, in the same area, the person has been born as a preta and having body hairs of spears. You see how powerful these bad actions, the bad results. Now, when we do bad things, it is sweet. But when the result comes upon us, it is very, very difficult, harder, unbearable. That is why we have to refrain from these things. That is why these discourses are very important for us. On the other hand, meritorious devotees, Dhamma friends, the Supreme Buddha says about another being. That was a being having body hairs of arrows. Now they are moving through the air. Those arrows kept on rising up and coming down on the body, giving lot of pain. Then he uttered cries of pain. What is the reason? That being was a torturer. That being was a torturer in the same Rajaga at that time. Because of this torturing, the act of torturing, he has been born as a being with body hairs of these arrows. Now all the time suffering, all the time suffering. Now we are fortunate. Now you can understand how fortunate we are not to have such type of bad results. Now we are quite fortunate, the meritorious devotees. We have no such pains, no body hairs of arrows, no body hairs of spears, right? Now we can engage in meritorious deeds. We can observe sil. We can offer dana, alms. We can meditate. Now such beings cannot do such things. Now that is why we are fortunate. We have to understand this. We also have been born as such beings in the samsara, and we have suffered many years due to those fast karma. Having completed those results, we are born in this human world at the time when fully enlightened one's sasana is available. Therefore, compare with this great opportunity. And also, meritorious devotees, in the next discourse, in the Lakkana Sanyutta, the fully enlightened one explicates about another being. So that there was a man. Now all are not persons who cannot be seen by general mass. Who cannot be seen by general mass. These can be seen by the fully enlightened one or arahants. Those who have developed the mind, or other noble disciples who have developed the mind. So there was a man with body hairs of needles. Body hairs of needles. So those needles moving through the air. So those needles kept on rising up and striking his body. Now you see the karma, the bad result. Those needles were going up and striking the body when they were coming down, while the being was giving cries with pain. Cries with pain. What is the reason? The reason was that being was a horse trainer. Horse trainer in this, the Supreme Buddha says, in the same Rajaga. Horse trainer. Now you can see, when the horse trainers are training the horses, they give pain to that horse. Therefore, he also has to suffer. Now these days, when we compare our people in the, area of traveling, public traveling, our drivers, conductors, sometimes they, in order to earn money, sometimes they give pain to our passengers. They don't take the bus to the destination at proper time. Sometimes they take a lot of time. People are exhausted. They sometimes blame. They sometimes they are hot-tempered. They get angry. Why? Because our drivers, conductors, they don't do their duty with, smoothly, as a service. They have to earn money, no problem, no argument about it. But they must think of the passengers. So one day they also have to suffer like this. Now this indicates about it. Now this is a very good discourse for all of them who are doing this task. And then meritorious devotees, in the next discourse, the fully enlightened one, the Supreme Buddha, explicates about the man who was having body hairs of needles moving through the air. Now this is also very, very good discourse, meritorious devotees. According to that, those needles entered his head. Marvelous beings, meritorious devotees. Now you see, we have no knowledge, we have no power, we have no divine eye to see these beings. Even today, these beings are there. Unfortunately, we have no knowledge to see them. We have no jnana, in other words, to see them. But these are there even today. So, those needles entered his head and they came out from his mouth. Came out from his mouth. They entered his mouth and came out from his chest. They entered his chest and came out from his belly. They entered his belly and came out from his thighs. They entered his thighs and came out from his calves. They entered his calves and came out from his feet while he uttered cries of pain. So, what is the reason? That being was a slanderer in this same Rajaga. Now people don't think about slandering. Now that is the reason. Speech, bad speech, malicious speech. And there was a man who was having testicles. It was like a pot, now moving through the air. When he walked, he had to lift his testicles onto his shoulders. Now you see such a bad karma he has done. And when he sat down, he sat on top of his testicles. Vultures, crows and hawks following him in hot pursuit were stabbing at him and tearing him apart while he uttered cries of pain. So what is the reason? Reason that being was a corrupt magistrate in the same Rajaga. Now you can understand, in these discourses, in Lakkana Sanyutta, starting from this Atti Sankalika discourse, today I wanted to explain to you, when we do bad actions, we have to suffer. So, therefore, meritorious devotees, meritorious Dhamma friends, please do not do bad things. Don't do bad things. Try to refrain from bad things, bad actions. One day we have to suffer. So this is the good opportunity to take refuge in the Triple Gem wholeheartedly, the fully enlightened one, the Dhamma, the sublime Dhamma, and the noble Sangha. And then cultivate Shraddha, unshakable confidence, and then observe Sil, and then try to develop the concentration, stillness, samadhi, and that would help you to get rid of this dangerous sansaric life. Otherwise, once again we have to suffer just like these beings are suffering. They have not escaped. In the discourses, the Supreme Buddha has not mentioned that these beings have escaped. They may be still suffering in the samsara. Therefore, let us try to escape from this dangerous sansaric life with the attainment of Nibbana by comprehending the Four Noble Truths fully. May Noble Triple Gem bless you with you all. Namo Buddhaya.